Happy birthday.
Thank you, Max. Oh my God.
This is Max. He grew his agency to $50,000 per month with a team of 8 by giving his clients flowers.
Welcome to the Partners Podcast, where you get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to entrepreneurs who are relentlessly building real, profitable companies. Join us as we ask them the hard questions so you can take away the mindset, strategy, and tactics that launch them to success.
Welcome to another episode of the Partners Podcast, joined by a very special guest, Max Sock of Envision Media, one of the kindest, most authentic personalities I know, which is also very interesting because he comes from LA, and I always talk shit about LA, about being too stuck up and too into themselves. So very excited to have you here, Max, today to talk about your business journey, scaling a real estate media agency and a team up. How's everything been? How's 2026?
Thanks for having me. 2026 has been great. It's like, our biggest, busiest year. I feel like we finally have like a team going. So really, really exciting year.
Awesome. Well, what's the journey been like? Where did you start? Like, when did you first hold a camera?
So I probably first held a camera in 2022, I think. I like right in the middle of COVID. I was just watching a lot of like YouTube videos, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do something creative. At the time, I was like a data analyst at a tech company, so nothing to do with cameras. And I wanted to do something creative with a camera. One of my friend was also like a real estate agent, but also he did a little bit of real estate media. So he was like, oh, you should come with me and like help me shoot this house. And so I went with him, and I discovered this entire world of just shooting homes, and we had like a lot of fun. So I did a lot of free work for agents, just so I can honestly just figure out how to use a camera, like the settings, and because like the first videos I used to do were really bad. And then I was like, actually, let me take this seriously. I feel like there's something to do here. And then I started kind of like Envision Media just honestly just doing free work just to figure it out, and then just kind of starting.
I think all of our first videos were bad, and that's where people give up sometimes. And can we see it? Do you have it?
Oh.
Let's see one of the worst videos, if you can screen share one. So guys,
Yes.
This is Max's first video ever,
Yes.
or one of his first. And you can see how far he's progressed, because these are what his videos look like now. They're pretty insane.
I remember like we didn't know about HDR at the time. So we would literally go with like this big soft box in every room and just take a photo like that. And like, this is literally how we would shoot. That's how we shot our first house.
Yeah. And so how did it progress? How did you go from solo to building some momentum? What would you say were like the key things that you had to hone in or like lock down or evolve into to start actually having something that you're like, oh, this is a business. This is something I'm going to build my future on and around.
Yeah. I mean, when I started again, like it was just I honestly didn't believe it was going to work. So I was just kind of like doing this work thinking like, oh, I can never charge like $100 for what I'm doing. But yeah, it was a lot of outreach. So I think that's kind of like the hardest thing when you're just starting is like, this pretty much all you have to do is just get clients. So it's just a lot of doing the work and getting people to just know your name. For me, it was a little challenging because I'm very introverted. I don't like to do cold calls. I don't like to come in person in open houses. Like I just really bad at this. And I'm also from France, so like the language barrier, I was just like worried about, I was just in my head. But I figured, I'm pretty comfortable on camera, or at least I'm okay speaking in front of a camera. So I figured I'm gonna go all in on just showing up on camera on my Instagram. This way I can kind of like talk to people, but indirectly. So I did a lot of that with a lot of just reaching out to agents on social media. And as we were building our portfolio and people were seeing my face, more often, then we started to get clients like this. And I feel like now today it's like really helpful because I can just post videos, and it's really like the way we get clients is just by posting videos, and I don't have to necessarily go in person, which works for me. Like, so.
Yeah. I mean, I did the opposite. We weren't super big on social. Obviously we posted videos and we had agents, we featured on our profile.
Yeah.
But I rolled up my sleeves and I cold called every top producer until they told me to either stop
Wow.
calling them and die. They literally like told me to die. Like usually the say in sales is like, like keep calling them until they die. But they're like, yo, can you just stop, please?
I respect that. That's
They
so
never
cool.
they never threatened me. It's a joke, but some were like, bro, I have my guy, like you've been calling me for a year. But the funny thing is some of them ended up using us because their guy was out of town. They're like, all right, I'll give you a shot. And then boom, we're still working with them, and we were able to produce a better product. And it is a little cutthroat when you just try to go in. It's just like trying to swoop on someone who is on a date with someone else, like it's
Yeah, literally.
as raw as that sounds. Like you're literally like they already got someone they're
Yep.
with. You're going in and trying to chat them up, so it was a little bit more savage like that. And I cold call a lot of top producers, but some of them, I really built a connection with. They told me, Brendan, my current guy's on drugs, and I love him, and I've been trying to help him out, but he's unreliable. He's trying to do bumps with me, like I just do.
Wow.
I can't. He's gone too far, and it really got that bad sometimes. And I was able to be like a saving grace for some agents because we did good work at a good price and had great quality service. But yeah, that's completely different than the agent attraction model that you're using, where you do great marketing and content, and agents eventually notice and they come to you. And that was a big component of how we got agents after the first, big push. But like knowing everything now, right? Let's just say you had to start.
Yeah.
The whole slate was wiped clean. You didn't have your IG. You didn't have your website. You didn't have, even your team, right? It's just you with a camera. What would you do if you wanted to get back to where you're at right now?
Yeah, well, I think like going back to how I did it, I think it works, but it takes way more time because you have to build kind of like the momentum versus when you are just getting in front of agents physically. Like I think it will happen probably faster. So I think that's the difference. So for me, I wasn't in a hurry to grow, so that worked for me at the time. So if today I wanted to grow fast, I think probably like your way of doing it, which is showing up in front of agents, is going to be the best kind of like way to just grow your business fast. I personally think if I had to start over from today, I would just really focus on video because I know a lot of agents, they understand the importance of video, and they want to have good quality video. And a lot of media companies are not necessarily up to date in terms of the quality. So if you can get really, really, really good at just making good videos, but also making agents comfortable on camera, like being just really easy to work with. I feel like if you create that emotional connection where like they're like, I love working with this person because they make me feel comfortable and they produce great video, then I feel like that's the way you can really grow your business like super fast, like in any market, honestly.
Yeah. And there's a lot of creators out there that lack that video skill set and the directorship it takes to like really guide and lead an agent. you actually, you're a coach, right? Like you've helped other videographers level
Yep.
up, and you have a team now of 2 creatives, as well as admins and editors on the back end. Um, a team of 8 now. So congrats
Hmm.
on the growth.
Thank you.
What are the foundations? Like how does someone go from not being able to lead an agent successfully on camera and produce like a really refined look to take their first step in doing so? Like what do they have to know? What do they have to keep in mind?
So I think there's two parts of making great video, which one is kind of like the shooting the video aspect, which at the end of the day, if you really learn the basic moves and you learn to do them well, so the workshops we talk about ninja walk, about just like the 3 or 4 like moves that you need to make any video, then you kind of have this down and it's really easy. Like you just shoot these different shots, and then you kind of have a video ready. But then like you talked about the second part, which is kind of like directing agents on camera, which is probably the hardest thing to kind of teach someone. So that's why when we hire, we look for someone that kind of has a personality that they're really good at with people. But even if that's like not like they've never directed anyone on camera, kind of like how we approach it is always first trying to just make the agent comfortable in general. So it's like kind of like lowering the pressure, because I think whenever there's a camera, there's always like high pressure for the agents. They feel awkward. So it's like you have to make them feel comfortable with you as a person. So, just small talk, just going around the house, talking about other things, just really making it feel casual.
Yeah.
And then when they're on camera, it's really being supportive. So even if it's like they're not doing the lines perfectly or they're messing things up, it's never judging them first, which I know it's easy to say, but like a lot of people will still like not say anything or just be
Yeah.
weird. So we are always super encouraging. So it's like I tell my team to express how they feel, but like really loud so that the agents understand. So it's like if they mess up, like, oh, no worries, let's do it again. You got this. You're killing it. It's like always just trying to reinforce like you are doing great. Don't worry. And if they feel frustrated, sometimes we're just going to fake that we made a mistake. It's like, oh, I messed up the shot. It's not you. You did great. Let's do it one more time. And it's just a one more time over and over until they get it right. And just finding when they're going to get frustrated versus can they give me a little bit more? It's really just kind of like people reading,
100%, right? And there's a spectrum of agents, right? There's agents that are one take wonders, and there are agents that stumble even if you feed them the lines one by one. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you navigate that in terms of making it fluid, and how do you know? Because like we've done more creative, like almost like commercials for agents, and some of them you ask them questions and you give them like prompts, and they're just still stumbling, even though it should feel like an organic conversation. And so we switched for those agents into feeding them lines and be like, okay, here's the script, just going to read it off, and here's the teleprompter, and we're just going to feed you line by line. You just got to memorize one sentence at a time. And other agents, you do that and they're like, dude, I feel so awkward. Like, I can't believe you're feeding me things I would never say. Just, and we're like, and when we switch to asking them questions, and it feels really organic, and we're able to have our editors pull out a very natural narrative. I know with social media, it's a little bit different because most times, you need that punchy hook. You need, actually call to actions, or, like little mid bits that rehook the audience. What is it that you do that's like helping you navigate this more successfully?
So one thing we built for our agent is a ChatGPT script writer. So it helps them kind of build the skeleton of a script without having them think too much about what to say. So we pretty much teach them when we show up on the site on the shoot. We teach them how to use it, which is pretty easy. Just literally talking to the microphone and don't filter anything. Just say anything that you think stands out about the house, and it gives us kind of like a first draft of a script. And then we tell them how to kind of like pick the sentences that they like and how to kind of refine their script until we get something that's about maybe 5-6 sentences that are very short, punchy, and that they like. Because we found that if you let them write the scripts, then they just write very long scripts that they cannot say on camera. And we built our ChatGPT, so it's like the sentences are like 9 words, maybe around there. So it's very easy to remember, and we can film them one sentence at a time.
Yeah.
And if we still see that the agent might be struggling, because sometimes even that could be overwhelming if it's too many sentences. We just have them do kind of like the hook and the call to action, and the rest kind of can be voiceover. And that usually works because they like it. And then maybe the next video, they'll be a bit more comfortable, until they can do all the sentences on camera.
That's super helpful, like really lowering the stakes and also simplifying it. I think a lot of people overcomplicate something that doesn't need to be, and being able to guide the agent as you are the expert, and not, because I see two different types of directors. You can call them project managers if you're kind of trying to get it done on the front end. So your shooters, when they show up, they already have like everything prepped. But like some let the agents take charge and some guide the agents. And there's a balance, right? Because there are agents that know what they're doing. They're a little bit more confident and comfortable. But then there's agents that are overthinking, over engineering. And it's your job to be like, hey, like, we got this. Hey, this is over engineering it. Like, this is not going to work as well as you think because of these reasons. This might bore the audience. But if that's what we want to go for, I have some, ways we can still make this interesting by keeping a lot of this still intact and giving them the confidence that you're not trying to redo everything that they did, especially if they put some of their heart into it, right? Especially because there's a lot of attachment too, right, by agents, because sometimes this is their first paycheck in months, and they're like, I can't fuck this up, but because of that, they're overthinking it. So it's cool to see you and your team do that. How much work goes into the front end, like, versus like on site? Because I see a lot of people, sometimes they show up and they're just like, let's just go. We got it. You don't have to plan anything. We'll feed you the lines. And other teams are more like project management based, of like, hey, tell us about the property. We're going to come up with the script beforehand. Do you want to review this? X, Y, and Z. How do you, as a team that's outputting, like, how many videos do you guys do a month right now? Like, a lot, right?
Probably 50 or 60, depending on the month. Yeah.
So you're doing like 3 a day, sometimes 4 a day. When you're outputting this type of volume, how do you navigate that and actually balance the workflow between your team members?
Yeah, I definitely heard some people have done where they prepare the script in advance. We've never actually tried that because what we've been doing has kind of worked so far. So for us, it's literally, I tell the agents over the phone, like, you don't have to come prepared for anything. Maybe just think about like ideas of what you think is important about the house, think about an outfit, but everything else is going to be done on site. So when our shooter shows up, the first thing they do is really show them our script writer. They have them install it on their phone and explain how to use it so the agent can really focus on creating the script almost by themselves while we start shooting the house. Because they usually get used to it and they want to do it by themselves because they just want to tweak with it, but they get that structure. And then once they're ready, we go over the script with them, just making sure like, oh, maybe this I would put here, maybe this I would change. I don't like this, all of that. And then we shoot the intro, and then usually that's all it takes. It's never been really more complicated than that. And so that's why we've never really changed the process, because it's worked so far with all of our agents.
Yeah. And I think it comes with levels, right? If you have someone who gets it, that has like that innate ability to direct and to flow, you don't need all of that. But if you have a team that's like a little bit more introverted, not to say like an introvert, because I know you identify as one as well, and recently I have more so as well, because I just like to be on my own more these days. I like my peace. I thought I got energized, but at some point, even an extrovert like myself wants a lot more alone time and nature. When it comes to scaling up the team, right? Like, how did you go about this? Because you have a team of 8 now. That's crazy. And your revenue's touching? What's 50, your best month
50,
so far?
I think it's $50K in April. Yeah.
$50,000.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you would make $50,000 in a month like 5 years ago?
No, no. I mean, when I started, I was like, yeah, if I can make like 5,000, that would be crazy.
Yeah, and now we're at 50, and this is just the beginning, right? Because you're just getting started, and $50,000 a month with a team of 8. Who's all part of your team right now, and how did you build this team up? Like, who were your first couple hires?
Yeah, my first hire was my first VA, which she helped me kind of like do outreach on Instagram. She helped me with a little bit of admin stuff, QC at the beginning because we needed her to do that. So she's been with me for like 2 years now, I think. And then we hired, I think the next one was a video editor, like a full-time in-house video editor, because we were really trying to get our videos to just be like outstanding. So I wanted to have someone that could do it in-house so we can really focus on that. Then we hired our first shooter, Alan. Then we hired, I think, a QC person because we didn't have enough volume at this point to have just someone to do photo QC and all of that. Then our second shooter, and then our second video editor. So that's kind of like our team. And then recently we hired an admin, which is Kiana, which is the person that just answers all of the people on Quo and everything like that. So I guess it really happened piece by piece. There's no real like strategy. It's more of like, hey, I need help with this. Who's going to help me? First, everyone kind of has to do a little bit of everything. And then you're like, okay, maybe I have enough work for one person to just do this job. It's kind of like how it works. And it always feels uncomfortable hiring because you feel like you're hiring too early. But there is always a kind of like that ramp up period. So you have to take that into account. That's kind of like, I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes a ton of sense. And that's literally how it is. Like in the beginning, like the people that you bring on have to wear many hats because you don't, like if you're hiring someone for QC, if you're running 200 shoots a month, sure, that person can do QC every day, all day, you know, nonstop, and do maybe some revisions here and there. But if you're at 10 shoots, 20 shoots, 30 shoots, that person's got to do more than just QC, right? They got to help with some customer service. They got to help maybe with some sales and outreach, maybe post on some Instagram, you know, like here and there. And same with you know, your editors. You know, they're not just probably editing your client's content. They got to help you edit your content. And they got to, you know, also come up, like learn and take some of their time to train up and skill up. You know, because maybe you did get them at a better rate, but you're like, hey, you know, you want to make more money here. You know, you gotta get us to this level, and you know, incorporate this AI transition, and incorporate this type of, you know, like cadence, and you know, watch this video and let's try to replicate this one on our next shoot. So
exactly.
I love that, and I think you did it right. But you know, like you said, no one's ready to hire. I think it's I think the people that are too ready to hire sometimes fuck it up. I heard about this one guy, or actually I know this one guy. He was like so gung-ho. He's like, oh, this thing's going to go to the moon. Things are picking up. He hired like 5 shooters and 3 editors, and he didn't have enough work for them. And it's just like, it's not like, we've done that before and we've made that mistake, like build it and then they will come. There's like a, you know, it's kind of like real estate. You don't just build a mall and expect like a million stores. You got to like make sure the city can support that size of a mall. It's the same thing with, you know, your little mini economy. You got to make sure that it's built brick by brick, and there's enough taxpayers creating enough value, and enough shoots coming in, enough edits to happen that everyone is able to contribute. So I think you did it right. And who would you say is your best hire so far, and why? You know, is it a personality trait? Is it a skill set that's really given you and your company an edge? Is it some sort of quality in how they do things and what they do? Who's your best hire, and why?
I think my best hire is probably my first VA fell, because so she used to have her own business. So I think she really does understand what it is like to run a business. And so from the first second we've kind of like worked together, we were just kind of like on the same wavelength. Like the expectations were the same. She understands what it takes. She doesn't just wait for work to, you know, to be assigned to work. She just kind of like looks for work. She looks for ways to improve. She kind of like shows up. And so that's really one trait that I was trying to find with every new hire, is someone that, you know, will rise to the occasion, that will show up when we need them to, and is not just sitting around waiting for someone to tell them what to do. That is probably the trait I've seen is probably the most important. Just kind of like also ownership. Like this is part of my role, or maybe this isn't part of my role, but like I'm not just gonna not say anything. I'm gonna try to figure out how we can solve this problem. So I know today that if I have to leave, like I know she can kind of like almost run my business, because she would tell people like, you need to do this, you need to do this. You know, she'll kind of figure it out. Which I love. So that's kind of like something I'm looking for.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the extreme ownership, you know, aspect of. It's almost like us as entrepreneurs, we figure everything out from like nowhere because we never
Yep.
got taught any of this. Like you don't go to.
Nope.
I went to school for entrepreneurship, or I took some classes in business administration for entrepreneurship,
Yep.
and I didn't learn anything. I learned, out in the
No.
field and being thrown problems. It was like there's no handbook on this. Like now, obviously, we have a more advanced version of Google,
Mhm.
with AI and LLMs to help us figure out some of these challenges. But it's all about asking these questions, trying to find solutions, find creative ways to make things happen. And so that's pretty awesome that you hired an entrepreneur in your company. Those are the ones that I love working with because there's a lot of burden, and responsibility that you have to shoulder as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. So I wanted to talk about some of the challenges and hardships, right? Because
Mm.
you make it sound easy. You're doing it with a smile all the time. What are like what are like the three oh shit moments of like, oh, I really hope I figured this out, or I this sucked, but we'll get through it.
I think my first like hire like an actual specialist, like a creative, like a shooter, that was like really challenging because I think as entrepreneurs we're so used to doing everything, like we can do everything. So it's like, yeah, just tell me, like I'll do it. I'm the best at it. But then when you start hiring a team, you kind of have to like let go and just let people make mistakes and just train. I mean, for me, it was really hard because I'm very control freak. So I like to control everything. I like to have everything perfect. And, I'm like, if I can do everything, it's going to be perfect. So that was the biggest challenge because I couldn't figure out if it was a me problem, if it was a higher problem, if it was a systems problem. And so it was really frustrating to get my first shooter to the level I was expecting. But it's also because I had to change as a person to be like, I had to become a leader versus becoming like the person doing the operator doing everything. So that was a big challenge. I think second challenge, I think every entrepreneur has that, is just kind of like the constant stress and the responsibility and the weight of the business always relying on you. Like as much as I'm trying to find people that have that ownership sense, there's levels to ownership. And so it's like if something falls through a crack, if sometimes it feels like if I'm not checking, then it just falls through the crack. So that responsibility, if time there's a problem, a client wants to talk to the business owner. So that's probably the most challenging thing for me because I started this business because I wanted to kind of like a lifestyle business where I could just be like, hey, this is running, and then I can do something else.
Which you
But the
have.
reality is like,
Yeah,
I have.
but if shit
It's
falls
not
through
what
the
I dreamt
crack,
of.
you're still getting a
Yes,
call on the beach.
exactly. So it's not the exact idea I had of, which I think I'm trying to just match in my head. So I think that's kind of like the second challenge.
Yeah.
And maybe the third one, that's a good one. I think it's always you're always dealing with either the problem of needing more clients because you don't have enough business for your team to be busy and happy and stay in business, or you have too many clients going on and everything is just breaking down and you just need to hire. So it's like you're
Yeah.
almost like always threading that line of like either I need more clients or I need more staff, and it's always like the stress of one or the other.
There's a lot that goes involved, but it's also quite simple sometimes, right? Like building the team. There's three like pillars, right? There's getting the business through growth, business development, marketing, sales. There's building a team, hiring, training, management, and then there's the systems on the back end. What systems did you have to adopt to be able to handle like the 50, 60, 70 shoots you do a month now?
So our biggest challenge was kind of like the video tracking all the edits, the revisions, and all of that. So that's where I built like a Monday board to just be able to track that, because that was the biggest issue. Is when we have a revision, do we know where the video is? Like what revisions people are asking for? So being able to have a board where we can track the status of every video going on and just implement Frame IO so we can give feedback internally, but we also use it externally. So when our clients want to give us feedback, we teach them to use Frame IO. And there's a mini learning curve at first, but then once they use it, they actually love it. So it simplifies our revision process because it goes straight to the editor. And so that logistic was hard. And then creating all the SOPs and training the first time you're hiring a shooter, it's like like figuring out like how do I actually shoot? I don't know. I'm kind of randomly shooting. I kind of know it. So like what's like, thankfully we have AI now, so I can just talk to AI and it will make me an SOP.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of like those two things were the most important part.
Yeah. And then what are other systems that you've adopted that have helped you streamline the business? And, you know, what if you had to like rebuild from ground zero, what subscriptions, what software do you need to sign up for? Because you said Monday and Frame.
Yep.
What else runs your business right now?
Order system. So we have HD Photo Hub, and then we have Slack just for communication. I would say these are probably the 4 main soft tools that we use, and just Google Drive.
Nice. So you keep it pretty simple, and then you
Yes.
probably you're on Google for calendaring
Yep.
and everything else. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Yep.
Nice, very cool. Yeah, I mean that's a good stack, and you know it's every media company that's getting started, they need to consider like 3 things, right? One is a communication platform and a project management platform for your team. You know, there's obviously Slack, but you know that's more of a communication platform. Having something like Monday or ClickUp, or I know there's others out there that are quite useful. Smart Suite and Notion, those are all good tools. And then when it comes to booking and delivery, you have your HD Photo Hub, Tonimo, Ario, Spiro. Those are all like the big popular platforms. I know there's some smaller ones. Not sure how good and reliable they are, but those are the ones that have been pretty popular amongst the community. And then Google obviously is almost like a no brainer, right? Google Drive and Dropbox. You know, Dropbox obviously has a decent amount of use cases. Like we like Google Drive because it connects to Google so you know seamlessly with the calendars and the like Google Gmail, everything. But Dropbox for us was proven to be more reliable with the upload and download, you know, for our clients. So we did end up adopting Dropbox there. But yeah, the Google Suite is undeniably just a great value. I think they raised their prices twice the last 4 years, which it got expensive, but it's still cheap. It's like under $15 or something a month, you know, for per user, and you get Google Calendar, you get Gmail, you have Drive, the whole gamut, and it's nice. What about like client meetings? Do you do a lot of discovery calls with clients right now, where you're trying to like consult them and you know take those notes and put it in your system? Do you use like a note taker like Fireflies or anything of that nature?
So we do. So that's definitely something I'm still working on being more consistent on. We do it over the phone. We want to have a better way to track what our clients like, their preferences, like all these notes. Right now, we kind of have our clients. I mean, right now, I feel like HG Photo Hub doesn't really work well for client management. So we have our clients in Monday and have notes like that. It's not ideal because I feel like Monday is not really made for that as a CRM. But that's the kind of like next thing that we want to figure out is how to track our clients better so we can understand where they came from, what their preferences are, like all these notes so that we can kind of like make sure that we deliver consistently on their projects.
Yeah, 100%. That's really good that you have built this up. When do you think it might break? Like, what do you think would break first if you double your business? Or do you even know?
That's a great question. In terms of system, you mean, or in general?
Yeah, in your systems and then in general,
System.
like once you doubled, like what else would you need to add or fix?
System would probably be, yeah, it would probably just like our client management. Like we wouldn't be able to track exactly, like it's not even just about tracking, it's the preferences and like all the notes, the problems that we've had, because sometimes we have problems with the client and like we want to avoid it on next shoot if they prefer lights off, for example. So it's like, yeah, we have it in their order notes or whatever, but it's like, it's kind of like sparse and just kind of like, there's no source of truth. So that's probably the first thing that would break. And if it's just the overall business, I would probably break the first one. Honestly, it would just be the mental load of having all these clients going on. So it would probably just be me, honestly.
Yeah, I feel you.
Do you have any recommendation on actually, like, I guess, how do you have a HubSpot, or like what is your way of tracking clients, I guess?
Yeah, so HubSpot is one that we've used for many, many years. It gets quite expensive. It is a flagship software. A lot of people probably have heard of Go High Level. We have our own
Yes.
version of it for the industry, where it pulls in everything from emails to text messages to client profiles and preferences. And that's been quite helpful. Our version is called AOS,
Okay.
and you can go to aoscrm.com and you can get access to it. And as you're one of our partners, so you get 6 months for free if you want to try it out,
Oh
and
yeah, sweet.
you still get it cheaper than if you were to get it directly. And our goal is to actually layer on agentic AI that, like, I already did it for my own agency,
Mhm.
like ACRE Partner and ACRE Seattle, where our AI can query through the API any information about the client. So you can just ask the AI and you can talk to AI as opposed to talking to the CRM, which is logging in, looking
I
up the
know.
client, clicking
Mhm.
in. You can just get that instant feedback, the client notes and preferences, and all the fields filled out automatically. You can just
Mhm.
screenshot a couple conversations if you're on your iPhone, and you can tell your AI to be like, "Hey, throw
Yeah.
this in the CRM and put this into the pipeline and keep track of it." So that's what we're building towards. Obviously, it's not ready for like mass market, but it's still very exciting stuff. And I would say Go High Level is like the best bang for your buck because it includes like its own version of Calendly. It includes like a lot of email marketing tools and tools that, as you scale your agency, you're like, oh, well, we're at 100K now. We have like, you know, um, 400 clients that book us, on and off throughout every quarter. Maybe we need to start email marketing. And
Yep.
with HubSpot, like our email marketing costs like $1,000 a month for a
Yeah.
client list of like 10,000, and it's just like
Mhm.
it gets really pricey because you do the math
Yeah.
there. That's 12,000. That's like 3, 4 Sony A7 threes,
Yeah.
S3. You're like, shit. So and then it's, as you scale, it's kind of like it's like a game of making sure you're just very smart with every cent, right? Like every percentage matters so much more at a million, right? Each
Mhm.
percent that you save, like 1%, if you can save 1% on software, that's 10K a year. If
Yep.
you can save, instead of paying your shooters, and I'm not saying you shouldn't pay your shooters a lot, but some people pay their shooters 50% of the shoot at
Mhm.
a million, that's half a million going out versus like
Mhm.
realistically, you should probably cap it at 30%. I would say
Yeah.
anything over 30% is not really sustainable. And that's 200K difference. As an owner, that's 200K that you can spend towards, growing the business and still providing opportunities for your creatives, right? Just because
Mhm.
you're paying them 30% doesn't mean they can't make bank. Our
Oh no. Yeah.
cost of a shoot, what we pay the shooters is usually between 20 to 30%, and some of our shooters are making 130K a year, and they came from Best Buy and Starbucks. They're like, they're living their dream. They're like, I get to
Yep.
drive, cruise around with some good music, go to nice
Mhm.
dope houses, make twice, 3 times as
Yeah.
much as I made at Best Buy. And so I know there's a lot of people that pride themselves in paying their creators a lot, but I think you can still pay your creators a lot and be at a more sustainable,
Mhm.
percentage. And so I think that's really important, and those things need to be tracked and benchmarked. I think there's industry benchmarks we're trying to create of like, here are best practices. Here how much you should spend on software, insurance, on bookkeeping, on uh, obviously what you pay your editors, you pay for your editing, and that way you can have a good target net profit as an owner, because at some point that's probably one of the most important things, right? Like after you break your back, put in the sweat equity and blood sweat and tears
Mhm.
for 7 years, going and going, what do you have to show for it, right? I've seen people with $1 million business with like 100K in profits. It's like, you might as well just have
Yeah.
done the shoots yourself and pocketed 250,000, because that wouldn't have been a bad life. And their agency obviously is worth something. There's equity behind
Mhm.
it, but like the equity is worth that much more if you can show that much more profit. So if you're at like
Yep.
200K in profit, you can get at least a 3x multiple. You've built a agency worth $600,000 now, and that effectively adds another almost 100K to what you've made on paper over the last,
Mhm.
say 5, 6, 7 years. And so those are things that agency owners, as they continue scaling, They want to keep more top of mind. But yeah, that's really cool. What I want to do actually, if I can get logged into Instagram right now, is look at your profile and look at your website and look at your work and talk about the stories behind some of these amazing reels that you've done. Let's see if I can
Let's
get
go.
it. All right, we got the sauce right here. Those are some nice looking thumbnails.
Thank you.
All right, let's pick one. Let's do kind of like a bingo. Which one of these was the most complicated and biggest? I wouldn't say call it headache, but like the one that took the most energy and effort.
So a lot of these actually, I'm not shooting because I don't shoot that much. So I wouldn't even actually know what my team. Okay, so we have like different concepts. So the hardest one are probably the more skit concepts that we have, but we don't really do those a lot with our clients because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
in terms of,
I think that's the story there, right? The story is all of this took a shit ton of effort because you had to build a team, right? You had to get the editors, you got the team members in place. But all of these, you're telling me how out of what you see, how many of them did you not really have to touch?
Probably like 70% of these are not mine.
And that makes sense, right? Because you have 2 other shooters and 2 editors, and you're only involved in maybe a third at most. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So let's look at one of them, that maybe you did, and let's talk about the process from how you met the agents, how they potentially found you and decided to work with you, to how that shoot took place and happened to be, and what came out of everything.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like one of the recent ones we did here. We kind of like
we can watch it real quick if you want.
This house is wait. Cue the edit.
Very nice.
So this is one of the client where we do more like original concept because he's always wants something different and he's down, he's just down to do something a little different. And we've been working with him for a long time. I think he discovered me on Instagram. I think he just saw either an ad or just a video that we did. And when we started, he had never been on camera. And the first video we did was like an iPhone reel, and he had a hard time just, again, like first time on camera, just saying his lines, just knowing how to act and do all of this. But he has a lot of like listings because he works with like investors who like flip homes. So he gets constant listings. So every time we have a lot of opportunities to just kind of work together and just make videos. So with time, he's gotten better and better on camera. And we've done a couple of, like also more like skits. Like we did a skit here.
Oh, I remember this.
Exactly. So that's the same guy.
Hey,
like,
you gotta play that one just a little bit through. That one was golden.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here.
Hey Max. Hey Amir, how's it going? Good, how are you? Good.
So anyways, he's the one who actually came up with the idea of the bottles. He was like, I found these prop bottles. Like, I drove all the way to LA to buy, like, it was like $30 a bottle. He was like, I feel like we can do something with it. I was like, yeah, I guess let's try to find a way to just kind of explode this bottle somehow. And so that's kind of like what we came up with. We were like, let's just like, you be the annoying realtor that's like just overbearing and just always looking like in the way. And we'll just kind of play around with that. So that's kind of like what we do with this client. We just come up with like random ideas, but he comes with ideas, then we kind of build on top of them. And that's usually awesome. What happens.
I love that. And how much thought does it go into like these thumbnails? Because I see these thumbnails and I love that there's like, big tags and captions, and it seems very thoughtful in terms of selection. Are you doing that yourself as a business owner, or like who's all behind this Instagram profile?
Yeah, most of the things you see on Instagram is like me behind it, because it's such our kind of like, it's like it's my little baby of like, this is how we grew the business. So I'm trying to really curate it and make sure it's like just to the image of our brand. It's definitely something I'm gonna just shift over to someone else, but I'm still really very involved in curating it, choosing the thumbnails. I want to make sure that there's a face in it. There's like big words, anything that makes people want to click on the thumbnail. Some of them don't have that. It's usually because like the client will collaborate with us and they will choose like another thumbnail. But I also tell client, like, let's just try to use one where your face is visible, where there's like text, so that people want to click in, as opposed to just, I mean, this is okay too, but it's just a random just house. Like, why would I want to click on this house if the thumbnail is not attractive?
Yeah, people gravitate towards people, right? Like when you look at
exactly.
When you look at a picture, or when you're out in an environment, you're going to spot the people first, usually. So that's smart. Let's watch one of these videos that your team did. Let's just talk about that.
Yes.
See what you even know about it. Let's pick one.
This one was really good. From Alan.
This is what mid-century modern was meant to be: simple, intentional, and connected to its surroundings. Clean lines, open space, glass that blurs the lines between indoors and out. Just a short walk down the street and you're in gorgeous Malaga Cove Plaza, where you'll find restaurants, a local ice cream shop, amenities, and the most beautiful Spanish architecture that makes you feel like you're in Europe. Take a look.
Wow.
Yep.
That's and your team shot that, and your editors edited it without your involvement.
I was not involved. I literally just saw the final video. Like, I wasn't even involved in the revision. I just saw the final video. I was like, perfect.
Well, let's talk about what it took to get there, right? Like, how much time do you invest in skilling up your team? Like, what was all involved in training the videographer, and then also getting the editor up to that level?
So, the first thing that was the hardest to figure out is kind of like the recipes for our videos, because there's like kind of like a way we shoot our videos, so they kind of like all look the same regardless of it's me shooting or any one of my shooters. So figuring that out was the hardest part. Then actually training them is just really teaching them the different shots that we do, them getting comfortable with the gimbal, which takes a lot of just repetition, because you can just teach them, they understand the concept, but then actually moving the gimbal the right way for the detail shot is going to just take 50, 100 videos, to just handle. And a lot of things which are cool in these videos is like, once they kind of like are comfortable with our basic moves, I kind of like start giving them more creative shots that they can do. So like, instead of just doing a day to night, it's just like a straight shot. Like he did kind of like a looking up day to night, like a curve like that. So like seeing that in the video is really cool, because I just teach them a little bit of these creative shots one by one, and I just see them just incorporate them in the videos, which makes them kind of like stand out. So it's a lot of just like initial training of just being in homes and shooting together, and me giving them feedback, having them watch their clip and just feedback. Then them being on their own for a while and me just reviewing the video and giving them feedback. And then once they're comfortable, is adding more of those creative shots. On the editing side, that's also a big challenge. Like you're talking about, like if you get, someone that might not be like if you don't go through an agency or anything like that, it might be harder to find someone that has those skills, because the trends keep changing. So we spend a lot of time just training our editors. So I honestly, I know how to edit, but I wouldn't know how to show a timeline and like build a video. But I kind of know what I like, what I don't like, what looks good. So I can give kind of like that feedback that's more
You're
about
telling me
flow.
Your editors are better than you. You wouldn't be able to edit at that level.
No, not at all. I would not be able to. No. But I know how to recognize a good video.
That's what an agency owner should be about, right? Like,
yes.
Like if you're in it editing, like, dude, respectfully, right? We don't have to go into how much you pay your editors, but like your time is far more valuable, and your editors are far better than you.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, 1,000%. Like I edited a little bit, just so I could understand kind of like the idea. But then I was like, you know what? It takes way too long to edit. Like just takes way too long. So I can't do it. So that's why it was more about spending the time training someone and giving them the feedback, because I know what the video could look like. So I can give them that specific feedback of the speed ramp is not good enough because you probably want to smooth it out. Yeah, I can talk editor pretty much. But then honestly, so I pretty much made a library of all the YouTube videos from other people like James Bottomley, from like, like all these YouTube videos that already exist that are breaking down edits. I just put them in the library and I tell my editors to just watch the video, understand breakdown, take notes of it, record a loom if they have to. And then I just pay for any time there's like, those, like I know a lot of editors or big companies like Lucid Horizon, like they have like sometimes coaching. Eric Visuals had coaching at some point. So I just pay for coaching for my editing team. And I just get them with like Eric Visuals on a call. And I'm just like, let's ask questions. Let's break down timelines. And then this way they learn and they get excited because they get to work with like the people they follow, which is really exciting for them. So it's just a lot of
awesome.
time.
I love seeing you invest in your team, and you've invested a lot in yourself as well, and in your clients. One thing I saw yesterday, which is an amazing story right here. Well, I'll drop it to my team to throw in the edit, but this is why Max is a legend.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Max. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Look at that. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Do you do stuff like that a lot? I feel like you're very maybe that's just how you portray yourself on social, but you're a very thoughtful and just kind person every time I meet you, and your general vibe and energy. And I feel like stuff like that, it's stuff that obviously is harder to scale, but it's those types of things that really differentiate your business. Can you tell me a little bit about the thought process and like what was involved and why you got your client flowers?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be thoughtful, especially for the clients that keep coming back to us and trust us. Like, I know it's not always easy to go from shooting with me and then just trusting my team. So I want to make sure they feel like I'm not just completely removed from the business. Like, I'm still here. I trust my team. So trust me. Like, if you trust me, you can trust my team. So I want to make sure that people that keep coming back, like, they understand that I value like them. I value their business. So I try to do like some thoughtful things like that. Not always. It's not really, like you said, it's not scalable. It was actually her birthday last week. And so she posted about that. And we just happened to have a shoot with her this week. So she's the most amazing because she always brings us like a Starbucks. Like, she always brings something to the shoot. She doesn't have to, but she always treats us with something. So I figured this time, like, I want to treat her like, I wanted to bring her Starbucks, but she wouldn't give me her order. She was like, no, it's fine. Just take the photos and I'll be happy. And so I was literally like at Ralph's and I was like, I literally asked Claude, I was like, should I bring Starbucks? I see flowers. Is flowers weird? Should I bring flowers? And Claude was like, yeah, it's probably more personal. I'm like, see, let's go. Let me just bring flowers. And that's literally how I made the decision. It just happened on the spot. It wasn't planned out.
And it's a beautiful moment, right? Because I don't think she's going anywhere anytime soon when, which other videographer or real estate media company is going to bring flowers to her? And so that's awesome to see. And I really like the consideration that you put in everything that you do. You do like these monthly posts about like how your business is growing. I've been very proud to see your growth. That's amazing. You're a coach and you're also getting coached. Can you tell me about like the thought process behind why you've invested in coaching? I know you worked with Eli Jones, you work with us at ACRE as well, and you've worked with a lot of other people, like you mentioned, Frank at Lucid Horizon, and we have Eric Visuals, Eric Davidson. So it's really cool to see you make these big investments in yourself and in your team. What's your thought process behind doing so?
Well, I love learning, and how do I say that? I like shortcuts and just in general. I feel like to me, it's like, I don't want to have to make the same mistakes that people have already made. Like, it's just a waste of time to me. So every day of the week, I will just pay to get to solution, like, and just get to the finish line. So from day one, even the reason why I even started this business is because I saw Eli's course and I figured, oh, there's just a blueprint of how to do this business. Like, I can follow rules. I can just trust people. So I'm just going to do that. So to me, since day one, coaching has just changed my business. I would not be where I am today without coaching, because like never impossible. So to me, it always made sense. Like whenever I had to just put that money down for coaching, it's always hard when you do it because you're like, wow, that's a big investment up front. And it just doesn't make sense in your head how you're going to make that money back. But always looking back, there's always like, of course, there's just so many times in your business, you're going to run into these decisions that might cost you anywhere from $100 to maybe $20,000 or even more. And it's like, if you make the wrong decision, you probably not even going to realize how much money you're losing. But if you have someone you can go to that can just kind of like, that's already been through that decision and I can tell you this is how you want to take that decision, that's like money that, you just made it. But you can't really compare what you would have made versus what you would have lost if you don't do coaching. So for me, coaching has always been like super helpful, game changing in my business. And the reason I'm also doing a little bit of it through the workshops is because I love learning, but I also love sharing, because since I've learned so much from other people sharing what's going on and the real problems and what it's like to have a business like this, I feel kind of like this duty of like, I want to share the real behind the scenes of the business, not just we have the best videos and we have the best business, everything's great, It's like, no, there's actually other problems going on. And so, yes, there's the good part, but there's also the ugly part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very honored that you shared your journey with us today. And looking back on all that you've achieved and all that you've done and all the mistakes that you've made, what would the Max today give younger Max advice around? Like if you had let's just say 2-3 minutes to talk to Max and do some inception type stuff, what would that look like? What would that conversation be?
That's a good question. I think the first point would probably be about just kind of like the narrative in your head and just the confidence of just like, you can do this and you just got to do the work and show up every day. And some days are going to be great and some days are going to suck, but you just got to continue showing up and it will somehow just come together. So I think that's number one. Number two is a community. If I was doing this by myself, it would be so much harder. So rely on your community. I think shoot your shot in a way, like reach out to the people that you look up to, because sometimes they actually like are open to talking with you, to giving you advice. So just, I think, do more of that from the beginning. It's like all these companies that you look up to, just reach out to them and see how you can connect with them and see if there's anything that, like, can you shadow them? Can you learn from them? Like, I think that would have probably expedited even more my process if I had coaching plus just that, like, let me reach out to someone, because I would be scared of like, oh, they don't have time for me. Like, I mean, worst case, they just don't reply.
Yeah. Shoot your shot.
Exactly. No, honestly, shoot your shot. Yeah. Shoot your shot and just be kind of like true to yourself. I think there is sometimes the way it's shown online, like there's one way of doing business. And it's just like, no, I mean, it's at the end of the day, the reason you probably started your business is because you wanted to do it your way. So yes, you want to be on coaching and listen to coaches and listen to what people are saying. At the end of the day, it's still your business. So you can run it however you feel like running it. So going back to like, if you want to do cold calls, please, like, yes, it probably will be super effective and do that. If you don't want to do cold calls, there's probably other ways to grow a business. Just figure out what works for you. If you want to work on weekends, you can work on weekends. If you don't want to work on weekends, you don't have to. What I'm saying is just it's your business. There's no right or wrong solution. It's kind of like a spectrum. So just figure out what you want in life and from your business, and just kind of keep that top of mind, and just every decision that you make, kind of run it through this filter of like, is this aligned with my values, with the business I want to create? And I think naturally it will just go there.
Yeah, that's great advice, especially the part about it aligning with your values. I see a lot of people, they're building someone else's dream in their mind. Right? Their parents' dream for themselves of like, X, Y, and Z, or what society has taught them that they had to get the Lambo and they had to do this. And they get the Lambo and they're like, what the fuck? I'm not happy. Like this thing's stressing me out. I want to get a scratch on it. I can't even drive it outside my garage. They're like, right, why exactly. You get the Lambo? Go back to the Camry, my friend. Go back to the Camry.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. One last question for you. Where do you see yourself going? Like, where do you want to be now that you have built this foundation? you mentioned this lifestyle business, but what does that mean to you? Like, what is the lifestyle?
That's a good question. Let me think.
You've been working so much, you haven't even thought about it.
No, I mean, I think about it a lot, but it feels so far away still. Like every time I thought it was closer and it feels further away. I think at the end of the day, I mean, I would love to have a business that just kind of like runs without me, where like I could just be here and there when there's like big decisions, kind of like strategy questions. So pretty much have like a CEO. That would be like the ideal lifestyle business that I would love to have. I don't know exactly what revenue level that's at, what kind of like what the business would look like to be at that level. But that's kind of like where I would love to be.
And so I really appreciate you. And I'm excited for you. You know, I'm excited for you to experience it. I'm excited for you to build towards this 100, you know, like I think it's only a matter of time, right? Till you hit that 7-figure mark. And out of all the people I've seen run it up in LA, I've seen bigger companies than you led by people that are less talented with less heart than you. So I'm excited for you to take over LA.
Thank you.
Awesome.